Hi, I'm Alan at B&H, and we're joined by Kenta from Sony today to talk about a brand new camera. It's the RX1R Mark II, and it has a whole bunch of new attributes, starting with a 42.4 megapixel sensor, but that's not where it stops. Kenta, could you tell us a few other things about it?
Sure, yeah. So we're borrowing the 42.4 megapixel image sensor that's backside illuminated from the A7R Mark II.
Right.
So what that does for you is not only resolution, but dynamic range and low noise and higher ISOs.
Right.
So very, very capable sensor. We packed it into the RX1R Mark II, but that, yeah, as you said, that's only the beginning. A really cool feature addition that we have is the electronic viewfinder that we have here. That's pop-up as well. So in just one motion, you can have it pop up and start using it.
No more hand holding at arm's length for
Nope.
composing under bright light. Now you could actually look through the camera like a real camera, which to me makes a huge, huge difference.
Exactly. And the quality of this EVF is really great with T-Star coating as well from Zeiss. And you can retract it like that with one motion.
Now the original version was the RX1 and RX1R.
Right.
With a low pass filter, without.
Right.
The new camera has a new way of getting around that. Tell me about that.
So it's the world's first variable low pass filter. And it's optical as well. So what's happening is we have a liquid crystal screen on the sensor.
Right.
And typically it's a static layer. So it's glued onto the sensor. You either have the low pass filter or not, right? That's why we have two cameras.
Right.
But now we have the ability to put a charge onto that liquid crystal layer and then change it to have optical properties to have low pass filter or not.
All
And
electronically.
All electronically.
Now, is it on or off, or you say it's variable? How many variations are there?
So we have three settings there.
Okay.
Off, then standard, and then high. And it's really useful. Now you can shoot all those three settings in one bracket mode as well.
Press it once with partial, full.
Correct.
That's terrific. That keeps you covered under a lot of different situations
Right.
where you don't have time to switch cameras or switch settings. That's really, really neat.
So,
very, very nice.
So that's the world's first variable optical low pass filter. And then one thing that I did want to mention about the sensor is the AF capability, autofocusing capability as well.
It's faster now.
It's faster. So we do have the 399 phase detection points from the A7R Mark II, just like the A7R Mark II, on the sensor itself. So now what we have the ability to do is in AFC, you can now shoot 5 frames per second and have this continuing autofocus with the phase detection.
Very responsive. What percentage faster than the previous camera?
It's about 30% faster.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot. Now, the camera comes with a 35mm f2 lens and it's fixed.
Right.
There are advantages to that. Tell us about that.
Right. That is a very critical question, very fundamental. You know, you might be asking, why would you buy a fixed lens camera when you can buy interchangeable lens cameras?
Right.
But the benefit of having a fixed lens camera is that you can optimize the lens construction and also the manufacturing as well to optimize for every sensor. So this lens actually, if you took a cut through the half of it, you'll see that the lens elements go through the traditionally what the mount layer would be. So you can design the lens so that's more compact and much more smaller. Not only that, but we can now align the lens element to be perfectly matched with the sensor. So in essence, a fixed lens camera will deliver the best image quality that you can get with a full frame sensor.
That, again, I use an A7 series camera and I use it with different lenses and different adapters. I know that I have lenses that are very good, and depending on the adapter, sometimes they're not as good because you're introducing all these little variables. So this camera essentially eliminates all of that. And you also have close focusing. This is also a macro as well. So you can go use it traditional and flip it one direction, and now you have macro capabilities. And I know the earlier camera was really, really nice to use. So this must be really sweet to use as well. You also have sweep panorama mode, so you could shoot real wide field images. And because the camera has such a high resolving power sensor, such high resolution, you could also crop into it, I would imagine also, and get yourself, even though it's 35mm, crop into a tighter crop. For, say, a portrait.
And the images are so sharp that you can do that and people will not notice the difference.
Great stuff. Yeah. Great stuff. Now, in addition to the new camera, you also have some news for the owners of the A7R Mark II. Tell us about it.
That's correct. We do now have the firmware update to give you uncompressed RAW option as well. And we also added in a feature where if you have it connected to a PC remote, you can have HDMI live view output as well. from the camera.
Wow,
So
that's
two
very
new
cool.
features in the latest firmware.
That's terrific. Kente, thank you so much for joining us today. So there you have it, the new Sony RX1R Mark II, a firmware update for the Sony A7R Mark II. And my name is Alan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.